Well, hello everyone and welcome to my channel. Today's video is about edition and I want to share with you a pro edit tip, and it's about color. Well, most of the times when we edit one photo, we tend to look only to the contrast, to the highlights, if the highlights are good, if the shadows are good, if the blacks, the whites, the texture, etc. And to crop a little bit, to put the composition better or to change the aspect ratio. And when we reach the color section, what we do? We increase our saturation. But is this right? I can say to you, no, it is not right for most of the times. One of the big aspects of editing one photo is the color. The color creates a big impact in photography. So it can give you more saturated colors, less saturated colors, and more color contrast, which is quite important in one photography. So most of the times when we are editing and we hit that saturation button and increase it, we are not doing things properly. So the pro tip that I have for you today is how to correct this misunderstanding technique and how to avoid the saturation button and instead editing our photo in a better way. Okay, so here we are in Lightroom, and the first thing that I want to do, of course, in this photo is just to put it here, okay, like this, and to work a little bit the contrast, the highlights, and the shadows. I don't want too much the shadows, the blacks, and of course the whites. Okay, so I'm not going to take too much time here editing, because what I want to show you is about the color process. So the color process, when we reach the color process, is all about vibrance and saturation, right? So most of us, what we do is just to increase the saturation of the photo, and it kind of seems good. The photo have a good, a more appealing look, but is this correct? No, it's not. Why? Because when we are doing this, we are putting all of the colors in the same platform, and we are increasing the saturation of all of the colors. But in one image, of course, we have colors that are more saturated than other colors. But when we increase the saturation, we increase both of the colors, the saturated ones and the less saturated ones. So you end up with an over-saturated colors here and a good saturation in here. And this is unbalanced. This is not good for your photography. So we have another way to do this. So let's go. Okay, so we are going to forget saturation and we are going to increase vibrance instead. And you can see the difference. What is the difference between vibrance and saturation? Saturation, as I told you, increase all of the colors, but vibrance only increase or increase more the colors that are less saturated and protects a little bit more the colors that are oversaturated. So when we are increasing saturation in vibrance, what it happens is this. Okay, so we have a more balanced photo between the oversaturated or the more saturated colors and the less saturated increase a little bit. But this is all automatic. So it's Lightroom thinking for you and deciding for you what colors should be or tend to be more saturated in this process and less saturated. When we are editing our photos, we want total control. So you have one way to reach total control in Lightroom, which is, let's forget vibrance, which is the color mixer. So when you come here to the color mixer, you can see that you have these colors that you can work individually, and you have the hue, saturation, and luminance process. So first things first, let's start for the saturation. One thing that I would like to do, or I love to do, is to decrease all of the saturation of all of the colors. What this gives you is a black and white photo. Okay, so, okay. In what way this helps you? It helps you because now I am able to see what is the impact of one different color in the photo itself. So if I increase the reds, I can see the impact that it has in the photo, and I can see that in this one it doesn't have a real impact. The oranges, and you see the oranges here growing up in the photo, in the grass there. The yellows, okay, so we are seeing the yellows now appearing in the photo, and we can see clearly where the yellows are in the photo and what the impact of increasing saturation has in the photo. And now the greens, also greens have good impact, especially there, okay, like this. Aqua, it doesn't have much impact. Blues, yes it does. As you can see, we can increase the blues in the water, and I don't want too much. Okay, purples and magentas are not going to have impact. And now what I did, I have increased the saturation of all the colors, but individually, and I have put different levels of saturation for the different colors, so I have total control in this method. Okay, so let's continue, because we have more work to do. We can also use our luminance to give more luminance or less luminance to the colors. As you can see, we can increase the luminance of the blues or decrease it, but be very careful, because of course too much luminance will destroy the color, and too less luminance will also have a negative impact in the photo. So we have to be very careful about the luminance. It can help you a lot, or it can ruin our photo. So you can see the greens too. We can increase the luminance of the greens, creating more impact of the greens, and the yellows too a little bit. Oranges, if you think that the oranges are way too impact, have way too impact in the photo, you can decrease it a little bit. And the reds in the same way, not purples, okay, and magentas also don't have impact. So this is also important, of course, in editing the photo or the color, sorry. And as I told you, and this is very important, this is part of a creation method. So you have to be creative for yourself. It's your decisions that matters the most. So you don't have a right formula to do this. You will edit your colors as you wish. If you like more the oranges, if you like more the yellows or less the yellows, it's your decision. So in my decision, I believe that the yellows and reds have good impacts in the photo, so I increase it, but probably it's not your decision. So this is what is also beautiful in editing the photo. It's your decision that matters the most. So let's continue, and we have here the hue also to work. So let's see the reds. It's not bad. This color is more about the oranges, and as you can see, I'm not going to increase it a lot. Yellows, yes, I will increase it a little bit, and the greens too, and the blues. Let's see how blues goes. Okay, so a little bit to give it a little bit punch of more blue here in the water, but without making it too aggressive. So now the first step is finished. What I did is to increase the saturation, the luminance, and the blues individually in all of these different colors. Again, if you did this part here with the saturation button, you couldn't control the colors like this, so it would be worse when it concerns to edit colors. Well, another thing before we continue, as you could see, I like to put my saturation at 0 and start from 0 and increasing the saturation of different colors. But if you want, you can also do this. If you push your Control or Option in Mac and click in the color, you can see that all of the colors disappear, and you only have the color that is selected appearing in your screen. So it's also a good method to see what are the differences or the changes that you want to do in the photo. So let's do it here in the greens, and as you can see, if you push the greens up, you see that we only see the greens in the photo. That can help you also to decide what to do. But my method, what I believe is the better, is to put all of the saturation down into 0 and then increase individually the colors one by one. Well, before we continue, another tip that I can give to you is that when we are here in the color mixer, you have another way to control the amount of color that you put. As you could see, I like to put my colors to 0 and then to increase the colors one by one. And when I do this, I can see the impact that it has the color. So I'm constructing the color in the photo step by step. But what you can do also is to click on the Option key or Alt key in Windows, and if you do this, you see that you're only going to see the color that you are here, that you have here selected in the color mixer. So in this case, I just see the orange, and every other color will transform in black and white. So it is another way that for you to correct your colors. I do like more to put everything in 0 and start from there, so I will build my photo from the scratch and adding color by color and to see what the impact it has in the photo. So before we finish our color process, we need also to come here to calibration. And most of the people don't use calibration at all, but calibration is very important for our color achievement. So you have here the shadows that you can control. You can see that you have the possibility to put the shadows more in a more cold or more warm, and just by selecting this button and changing the tint of the shadows. So it's quite a big improvement in the photo if you use it. So after that, you have the hue and saturation of reds. Most of the photos, as you can see in this one, it doesn't use so much the reds, but in this photo here, it's more about blues and greens. So let's give some time to the computer to process. But if you decrease the saturation of the blue saturation, you can see that you lose a lot of the information here. But if you have more blues, you can see that what happened is a boost in the color, not a bust. So okay, let's put it like this, and decreasing saturation, increasing a little bit here also in the greens, and you can use also the hues, but and the reds a little bit, but that's not what I want in this photo. I just want more saturation. So as you can see, look at this photo now, and let's compare a little bit the before and the after in the photo. And as you can see, we have a very much more rich color here in this photo in the right than what we did before. So here it is. This is one of the most important tips that I want to share to you in this tutorial. Well, let's wrap up a little bit this first part of the tutorial. So forget the saturation button, don't use it. Only if you don't need to work too much the photo and you don't have time for do a more extensive editing process. But forget it. Just use the vibrance. It's way better than the saturation button. And if you do want to make a great job editing colors, edit the colors step by step or one by one, increasing saturation, luminance and hue individually in the colors. So Lightroom is perfect for this. You have the color mixer to do it, and it's just perfect. You also have the in the color mixer you have the point color that you can use, and in this point color you have this selector, and you can select the color that you want, and you can see you have also here all of the things that you need to work the color individually. The saturation, if you decrease the saturation or increase it. Okay, and the luminance here in this part, if you decrease the luminance or increase the luminance. So it is just another way to do it. It's not better or worse. It's just a different method to work the color. And then finally, in the end, you have the calibration, and most of the people, they don't use calibration because they think that is just a calibration process of Lightroom, but it's not. You can use the calibration process to work on the shadows, as you could see, changing the tint of the color in the shadows, and you can use it also to change the saturation and the hue of the three primary colors in digital files: red, green and blue. So this is also quite important. In the second part of this tutorial, we are going to see one pro tip also, that is the Orton effect or the glow effect. And this is quite simple addition to do, especially in landscape photography, and it works really well. So what we want to achieve in this effect is to make some kind of glow in the highlights, especially in the highlights. And what it does, it creates a little bit of mystic in photography, create a little bit of smoothness in the highlights, and that is a little bit more pleasant to the eye. And again, this is one style of editing, this is one process that you want to do or you don't want to do, depending on your style. I use it very often, but that is just me. So let's jump again into the editing process, so for me to show you how to achieve this process really simple. Let's go. So again, we have our photo edited like in a normal way, and what we want to do next is to come here to presence and increase a little bit the texture and decrease the clarity. What gives you the Orton effect is more this clarity or decreasing in clarity, and decrease also our dehaze. If you increase the dehaze, you can see you have a lot of contrast in the photo, and we don't want to add that. We want to decrease this dehaze. But if you do it like this, it's the same thing about saturation. You don't have much control, and this will affect all of the photography, and we don't want that. And when we don't want that, we have another way to do it and gain a little bit of control, which is using the masks. So I'm going to take off all of this, put it to 0, and let's create a mask. What mask you want to create is the luminance range, that is here, and then here we are going to create our luminance sample here, and of course, and now we have told to Lightroom what is the areas that we want to work. So as you can see, these are the areas that we want to work, and as you can see also, it only going to affect the water. But I don't want only to affect the water, I also want to affect some of the vegetation. And how can I do this? I will increase here my luminance and increase also my interval of luminance. And as you can see here in the image, I am affecting now the water, I am affecting some of the vegetation, but I'm leaving the shadows behind. So this effect that I'm going to do is it will not affect at all the shadows. Okay, so with our mask ready, we are going to come here to effects, and now yes, we are going to decrease the clarity, and we are going to decrease the dehaze, not too much. Okay, so here it is, and maybe not too much also the clarity. Keep in mind that if you decrease too much the clarity, of course we will lose also the sharpness of the image, and the image will become a a little bit pastel, a little bit like if it was some kind of a painting. Okay, so I'm going to put it to -25 here, and let's see here the before and after. Before and after, and as you can see, we are just creating some glowing effect here in the water. Okay, so now I have this clarity effect made, and now I'm going to come back to my editing panel, and I'm going to increase a little bit the sharpening for me to create some more contrast in the photo. But I don't want you should not increase a lot the sharpening, as it affects negatively the photos. You should only, for me, it's only about 70 or 75 in here, but I don't want the sharpness in all of the image. I just want it again in some parts. So I'm going to come here to masking. I'm going to increase the masking, and for me to see what this is doing, again I will hit the the option key. Okay, as you can see, option key, and now what these parts here in black, they are not going to be affected by the sharpening. Only the white parts of the photo will be affected by the sharpening. So I'm going to strict to the edges of the, okay, like this. I'm going to just put the sharpening here in these parts and not in the water, not in all of the other parts. Okay, so now I have the sharpening only in this part here. Let's just wait a little bit. Okay, let's see before and after. I don't know if you can see it there in your screen, but it creates a little bit of the difference, of a difference in those parts that I have selected to be more sharper. If you want to increase it, you can also, of course, increase, but again, do not put a lot of sharpening in this. Okay, so our photo now is almost finished, and the only thing to do is to just give a little bit of retouching in the white areas and the shadow areas. I'm not going to do it here in this video because it's not the purpose of this video. Let's jump to another photo, and the last one, and to see how we can create this Orton effect to create more impacting photos. Let's go. So the second photo that I have to you, it's this one here. Okay, so let's edit this photo, and as you can see, we have a photo that it has some mist, and we need to improve this photo, and we can put also the Orton effect in this photo. So let's edit the photo really fast. So create some blacks here, some whites, and again we are going to our color mixer. The mixer here, saturation. I'm going to do it really fast without more explanations now, because you have already seen all of this, and we are going to start building our photo in colors. Oranges, the oranges are in that rock, as you can see. It's some kind of distracting, so I'm going to decrease the oranges in that rock. The yellows, yes, I want the yellows to be more saturated. The greens, well, be careful, I have to be very careful with the greens, so not to be very saturated. And okay, the aquas, the blues, not so much. Purples, have a lot of purples here. Okay, so now we have our color luminance. I'm going to stick with the colors that I do want to edit more. Yellows, green. Okay, very fast. And the hue, I also want to take a little bit of advantage here in the hue process of these colors, decreasing a little bit the yellows and the blues here. Okay, so I have my photo prepared, and now what I'm going to do is to show you again the Orton effect, which is quite simple. So let's go. First thing, create a mask, a range mask, luminance range, and we are going to pick up here in our photo one part of the highlights in the photo that you wanted to for the effect to appear more. Let's create a little bit more of effect here, and as you can see, I'm leaving behind all of the shadows in the photos, and these parts will not be affected by this Orton effect. Okay, so now I'm just come here to clarity, decrease the clarity, and it's your personal taste. This I just tend to leave it more here in 25 or something like that, and the dehaze around -11. Okay, but it's just of course your preferences. So let's see here the before and the after. So this is after, before, and after. And as you can see, it have a big of impact in the photo, and it creates some kind of mysticism or more mysticism in the photo itself. Okay, so now let's come back here to the module of editing module, and then I'm going to work in my sharpening. I can increase here the texture. It's not bad to do it like this, because texture will also it uses some kind of an AI to select the parts of the pixels that they need more sharpness. Okay, it's not bad, but also you can also use this sharpening here, and then you mask what you don't want. Okay, so finishing this, in this video we have learned how to color correct your photos and how to edit our photos with the colors individually. Do not touch the saturation button again, just kidding, but avoid to touch the saturation button. You can use it sometimes, but you have to be very, very cautious about that button, specific button, because you can oversaturate your colors. If you don't oversaturate, you can use it, but remember also to edit your photos individually, color by color, and then at the end use also the calibration process to improve the colors of your photos. So, and in this end, we saw how we create the Orton effect, quite simple. And well, it's all for today's video. I hope you did enjoy it. I hope this is useful to your edit process and to you improve your photos. Stick with me, stick with the channel, please. If you like this video, give it a like and subscribe this channel for more videos and for helping me to grow up in my audience. Thank you very much, and see you on my next video. Cheers!